Hello, friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Before we take you to your favorite Sports History Network show, just want to tell you a little bit about some merch that you can pick up that represents your favorite SHN podcasts. So far, there's t-shirts, coffee mugs, and even books from some of the authors that do podcasts right here on SHN. Who could buy something better than that than have the history right from the gentleman that you hear talking about it? But we also are adding things each and every day. And where's that store, may you ask? Well, it's at SportsHistoryNetwork.com. Up at the top, there is the SHN merch button. Click on that. It'll take you right to the store, and you can be representing your favorite podcast and show the world that, hey, on the swag that I'm using, it's the headquarters of sports yesteryear, Sports History Network, and my favorite podcaster, the Sports History Network store. Shop there today.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Yesterday Sports on the Sports History Network. Today we're going to have part 2 of the 1986 New York Giants. The Giants went into Week 11 at 8-2 on the season. The Giants traveled to Minnesota and trailed the Vikings 20-19 with just 1 minute and 12 seconds left on the clock. But in what might have been his best game of the season, quarterback Phil Simms connected with receiver Bobby Johnson on a 4th and 17 for a first down. Moments later, kicker Raul Allegra kicked the winning field goal to give the Giants a 22-20 victory. Week 12 would be a true test against the 9-2 Denver Broncos. But the Giants prevailed 19-16 in a hard-fought defensive battle at Giant Stadium. The big highlights of the game were a 78-yard interception for a touchdown by 34-year-old defensive end George Martin and a 46-yard touchdown strike from Phil Simms to Phil McConkey. The schedule didn't get any easier for the Giants, as they were going up against the 1984 Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers 8 days later on Monday Night Football at Candlestick Park. It didn't look good for the G-Men as the 49ers took a 17-0 halftime lead. But things changed quickly. Tight end Mark Bavaro inspired his teammates with a routine catch over the middle, and it took 7 defenders to bring him down finally, some of whom he carried for almost 20 yards. The play awoke the sleeping Giants as they came back to win 21-17. Phil Simms threw for nearly 400 yards, and receiver Stacy Robinson made an extraordinary catch at the goal line to set up the winning touchdown. A Week 14 matchup against the Washington Redskins at RFK Stadium would decide first place in the NFC Eastern Division. The two teams came into the game with identical 11-2 records. Washington held Joe Morris to just 62 yards on 22 carries, but they couldn't contain Lawrence Taylor, who registered 3 sacks on the day and harassed quarterback Jay Schrader into throwing 6 interceptions. Final score, Giants 24, Redskins 14. With game-time temperatures reaching a chilly 14-degree wind chill factor at the Meadowlands in Week 15, the Giants made short work of the Cardinals, 27-7. Perhaps the weather had something to do with the Giants gaining only 62 yards through the air, but it didn't matter. Their ground game churned out 252 yards, 179 coming from Joe Morris. The Giants' D dominated the Cardinals too, registering 9 sacks on the day. With home field advantage throughout the playoffs now on the line, the Giants pounded the Packers 55-24 in Week 16. The game's highlight was a blocked punt, which was returned for a touchdown by former Packer Tony Flynn. The win gave the Giants home field advantage and a 2-week rest to prepare for their old nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers were hungry for revenge after losing to the Giants in their last two matchups. And it looked like they might get that revenge when on their very first series, receiver Jerry Rice was off and running for what looked like a short touchdown. But Rice inexplicably dropped the ball and the Giants recovered. From that point on, it was a rout as the Big Blue defense held San Francisco to just 184 total yards. The key play for the Giants came in the second quarter when nose tackle Jim Burt hit Joe Montana and Lawrence Taylor intercepted the errant pass and ran 35 yards for a touchdown. That hit also knocked Joe Montana out of the game. On the other side of the ball, the Giants' offensive line dominated the line of scrimmage as Joe Morris ran for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. With winds reaching 33 miles per hour at the Meadowlands, the Giants prepared to play the Washington Redskins for the third time this season, with the winner going to Super Bowl 21. New York started quickly, taking a 17-0 lead into the locker room at halftime. Then the Giants' defense dominated the second half, shutting out the Skins to preserve the 17-0 victory. One of the keys to the game was the play of Giants offensive tackle Brad Benson, who neutralized the Redskins' top rusher Dexter Manley, who had 18.5 sacks during the 16-game regular season. Now it was on to the Super Bowl, and on January 25th, 1987, the Giants took on the Denver Broncos at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. The two teams had met just 2 months earlier, with the Giants winning on a late-game field goal. Giants quarterback Phil Simms and Broncos quarterback John Elway were both hot in the first half, and Denver took a 10-9 lead into the locker room at halftime. But the Giants' offense exploded in the third quarter, scoring 17 unanswered points. The Giants went on to claim an easy 39-20 win. The game's hero was the often criticized Phil Simms, who threw 3 touchdowns and completed 88% of his passes en route to winning the Super Bowl MVP award. The Super Bowl victory was an exclamation point to the team's most successful season in their long storied history. Head coach Bill Parcells won Coach of the Year award. 8 Giants players were chosen to represent the NFC in the Pro Bowl. Tight end Mark Bavaro, offensive lineman Brad Benson, nose tackle Jim Burt, middle linebacker Harry Carson, punter Sean Landetta, running back Joe Morris, defensive end Leonard Marshall, and outside linebacker Lawrence Taylor. Taylor became only the second defensive player in NFL history to win the NFL MVP award. The team's success continued as the team went on to win 3 more Vince Lombardi trophies. One in 1990, then in 2007, and then again in 2011. That will conclude this week's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it, and God bless.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so it
retro
was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
placards.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for a 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, Sports Writer. Coming soon.